Good evening. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the beautiful city of Nantes. I hope that those of you who are visiting for the first time, as well as those of you who've been here before, will find the time during the course of these few days to explore and enjoy the city of Nantes and its wider territory, which we call Nantes Metropole. So, as Vice President for Higher Education and Research, I must say that it is an honor to be able to host this high-level international symposium. And I would like to thank very sincerely those who have made this possible, and in particular the GOUEZ-VP-University at large, Eric Gaume, its director of the Nantes campus, Luc Torel, research director in sustainable development, who has worked really hard, I must say, on organizing this fifth symposium. So, I am an anthropologist, not an engineer or a geoscientist, and it is not just my first time attending a symposium on offshore geotechnics, but believe it or not, it is also my first time speaking with the support of PowerPoint slides. So I ask you to bear with me. And there's a second reason I want to ask you to bear with me, which is simply more basic, that I am really quite exhausted. I spent the last 4 days in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, and as you may know, Kyiv was under Russian attacks during 2 nights, on Thursday and Friday night, which has meant for me standing, in a shelter for those 2 nights, and then coming back on a night train between Kyiv and Przemysl, Polish border city. But of course, I mean, the reason I am mentioning this is because the plight of the Ukrainian people at the hands of the Russian regime is a very terrible, tragic one, and I want to seize this opportunity to state very clearly the solidarity of Nantes Metropole with the struggle of the Ukrainian people for national independence. And in fact, as you know, the topic of today's symposium is not completely foreign to the geopolitical issue of fossil fuels, gas, oil, and I think that the new frontier for all of us is to push forward renewable energies, such as offshore wind power, also as a means, as a geopolitical answer to a state of the world which can worry us all. That said, and I must say too that on the return train I was with the governing mayor of Oslo, and I know that this was the place of the last symposium 10 years ago already. So I'm really delighted that we can have this fifth symposium here today. So now, the city of Nantes. I'll say a few words on Nantes so that you do take the time to explore it a bit. So Nantes is a city of both culture and nature. So I invite you to take the time to stroll along the river banks. This is a city that was settled a long time ago, before Roman times, within the mouth of an estuary, so the place where river and sea meet, and this is a great environment to explore. I also invite you to come back to visit an upcoming exhibition of the work of the great Japanese 19th century painter, but also printmaker, namely Katsushika Hokusai. as this exhibition will open after your departure, but it will run until the 7th of September. And it is an exhibition that will feature 150 works, including 40 paintings, the majority of which are leaving Japan, and so getting exhibited in Western Europe for the first time ever. The reason I mention this exhibition is because it provides an insight into the timeless themes explored by Hokusai, his relationship to nature, his approach to landscape, and of course, Mount Fuji in particular. We all know those paintings, but also the inextinguishable source of inspiration that water and the waves represent. So I thought this was an interesting image to open this symposium, because I guess that for many technicians, scientists, the wave and its immense power is the threat. And I do hope that, the 21st century will be the century in which we learn to work with the forces of nature and not primarily against them. And when I say forces of nature, I think of wind, of course, and I think of the sea. So this wave that you see in front of you is an invitation to meditate, to contemplate, and perhaps also change the grammar of our relationship to nature in this 21st century. And indeed, I believe that the shift away from the more exploitative features of what we call modernity is at the heart of the questions that bring you together today and in the coming days, namely the urgency of the need to forge an ambitious way forward for renewables, for offshore wind power, that is, for means of producing energy that are not ruthlessly destructive of nature and that take on board the finite nature of the earth and of natural resources. That is, maybe, the new frontier of offshore geotechnics. It doesn't feature here, but Nantes is also the birthplace of a very famous writer, a writer who's been translated, I would say, in all of the languages that are represented in this room today, namely Jules Verne. So I hope you've heard about him. If not, I invite you to read his works. And Jules Verne is also very interesting because he invites us to reflect on our representations of progress, of science, on the divide between nature and culture, but of course he's also the writer of the great explorations of the submarine world, of the sea, of the ocean, but also of the universe. And I think if we must shift the grammar of the relationship to the natural world, I think what we must keep from Jules Verne is certainly the fundamental drive that lies at the heart of his work, namely a burning desire to explore, to travel, to search, to investigate new fields of knowledge, a drive which, I believe, also lies at the core of your research, and as I understand it, at the core of the new frontiers of offshore geoscience and geotechnics. So Nantes is the central city, but I'm an elected representative of the city of Nantes, but here today I'm representing the Metropole of Nantes, which is the 24 cities and local communities. So Nantes Metropole is really a local collectivity which is willing to play its role fully in embracing transitions in all fields of collective life, from energy production to public transportation. And you see here an illustration of the way that this city was the first French city to reintroduce the modern tramway. And of course, decarbonation is today an overarching imperative. So that you'll probably get on the tram, as we say. And the other picture that you see here is a vision for the future. It features the bridge that we're building at the moment, and that will be a bridge built like a square on which you'll find 2 new tram lines, but also spaces for pedestrian and cyclists. So, and because I am a staunch Breton, I also want to point that the building you see on the other side of the tram is the castle of the Dukes of Brittany, not being the historical capital of Brittany. So in our eyes, the metropolitan maritime ecosystem is a key element in the transitions which we are pushing forward. This maritime ecosystem is a strategic field of development for our public policies in support of industrial development. We believe that the industry of tomorrow will make a large place for the maritime economy, but also our policy in support of research and, of course, jobs. So you see a few figures here that give you an idea of the current size of this maritime ecosystem in the Nantes region. But Nantes, of course, I said that Nantes stands at the mouth of the estuary, but there's another important city for you west of Nantes called Saint-Nazaire, and we share with Saint-Nazaire a port, an important port. And what you see here, the figure you see here, just reveals the size of the challenge we are facing, as 70% of traffic through the port of Nantes-Saint-Nazaire is made up of fossil fuels, and the rest is mostly proteins imported from Brazil, Canada, to sustain our agro-industry. So you can see that the challenge is very real for us, and a big part of the response is, we believe, going for offshore wind farms. And so there is, at the level of France, at the national level, an objective of building 50 offshore wind farms in order to enable wind power to play its full role in the energy mix. It is a huge challenge because our estuary holds a coal power station in Cordemais. It also holds an oil refinery in Donge, as well as a liquefied natural gas terminal. So, yeah, those are very heavy challenges we are facing. But we have, and this is the next slide, we believe that we have all of the required ingredients to face those challenges and succeed in the transition. So here you see the components of the maritime industry in Nantes Metropole. Shipbuilding, of course. Shipbuilding is a historical activity in Nantes. It was there already around Roman time. And when the shipyards in Nantes closed down in the mid-1980s, the city went through a very deep industrial crisis, or de-industrialization crisis. And what we are seeing now, as we have those new prospects for a new form, decarbonated form of shipping, is really a rebirth of a very historical industry. So we have renewable marine energies, I mentioned it. We have a port infrastructure, which is really important. It's really, for us, the entry point for the world economy, as Fernand Brodel would say. We have an important sailing activity, including yacht building, and in fact, Saint-Nazaire is the last city with working shipyards in France. So that shipyard, that shipbuilding infrastructure is a very strategic one. And we have, of course, a whole sector connected to marine bioresources, including another frontier, alga. And we have a set of activities related to the study of marine environments. So just a few words on the offshore renewable marine energies. So the first wind farm in France, opened just off the coast of Saint-Nazaire. Maybe you'll visit it, I'm not sure. Well, good. Yeah, so you'll see the fruit of this strategic orientation that we carry as policymakers there materialized, and that we share, of course, with the region and the state. But you'll see that materialized in this wind farm of Saint-Nazaire. So you see the figures. It is a large wind farm with 80 wind turbines of 6 megawatts each. And I won't go through all the figures because you have them in front of you, but it is important to emphasize that our territory is also host to key industrial players, General Electric, which is experiencing difficulties, I won't hide it at the moment, les Chantiers de l'Atlantique, so the shipyards of Saint-Nazaire, and a number of very competitive clusters of excellence, both in Nantes, in Saint-Nazaire, and in the wider region. So for us, the stakes are twofold. Our objective is to develop low carbon energy production both at sea, so through offshore wind power, but also on land within the district, the sector of the port. So you will probably hear about a project called Eol, by the name of the Greek god of wind. But we also have another project called ZBAC. And so the port was winner of the call for projects for the Zone Industrielle Bas Carbone. So, and the goal is to develop those two new areas of transition, so floating wind power, you'll have understood, but also to create an energy hub dedicated to green hydrogen and kerosene. We have also, and maybe you will visit some of them, I'm sure you will see those that are on the site of the Université GOUEZ-VP. We have also a set of really exceptional facilities, including some that are of the latest generation that, allow for physical modeling. So I won't mention them all, but you will see those in the Université Gustave-Eiffel, but there's also in the École Centrale de Nantes, so which is one of the best school of engineering in the country. You will see a towing tank, there is, anyway, I'm not sure if you'll visit it, there is a towing tank as well as a wave tank, and those two also bear the name of a Jules Verne character. They're part of two projects called Nemo 1 and Nemo 2. And of course, all of our ambition in the field of renewable energies rests on a very dense and rich academic and research ecosystem. So we have major universities, l'Université de Nantes, l'Université Gustave-Eiffel, major as well research centers, the CNRS, which is the National Research Agency, l'IFREMER, really dedicated to marine science. We have, I mentioned the schools of engineering. L'IMT Atlantique is also a very important one. We have a school of architecture, of course, and also a school that is also a historical school, l'École Nationale Supérieure Maritime, which has trained sailors and captains for many, many decades, and is now located within the premises of the École Centrale. We have, of course, not just the research, but all of the required tools for the transfer of innovation and research to the industry. So you see there represented the major ones. So we call them technocampus. So there's one that's dedicated to the ocean in Bougnay. There's the IRT Jules Verne, based more on the aeronautic industry. There's Algo Solis in Saint-Nazaire, CETIM in Nantes, and then CEA Tech also in Bougnay. So you see more of these industrial clusters named here. So yeah, maybe, well, I think maybe you'll get to hear about Neopolia in particular, and then EOL is that project that is being developed within the premises of the port, and which is basically a site where wind turbines are meant to be assembled tomorrow. What you see here, this building that you see here called Le Brick is really an emblematic site for the future of the maritime economy in our city. And so it is our new frontier when it comes to the fabric, the texture of the city, is that we are making space for this maritime cluster, in particular in one neighborhood which I invite you to visit, called Chantenay. So the Brick is really the totem site for this future marine industry. And then, lastly, to finish, we also have every year, well, yours is very exceptional. It unfolds every 5th year, but we have every year a host of events that take place in Nantes. So you can see them here. Wind for Goods, which is an international summit for wind-powered maritime transport. So we have, in Saint-Nazaire, for instance, they're building they're working on cargoes that will be wind-powered. Synergy is an also important rendezvous hosted in Nantes. So the next one will take place in 2026. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll have an event hosted by Centrale Nantes, La Cité, where you are today, and so around the wind energy, so wind energy science conference. So I hope that those are all reasons for you to come back to Nantes Metropole, and I thank you for your attention.